Should we build it first? So we're currently on this one, and we're going to this one. Look, that's a big jump. 561 to 565. So that's a big jump. So it's obviously a different code tree. But I've been hearing reports saying people are getting black screens a lot with this one. So when you alt tab. So I'm going to have a look. I'm going to test it out. But yeah, in order to install a stripped down driver on Windows 24H2, not 23H2, 24H2, you have to put the computer into a mode where it accepts you not having signed driver certificates. So test signing, yes. You can't see that, hang on. You basically have to run this, reboot. Note down the bottom right now, nothing there. But watch what happens when we reboot. So we're going to reboot and then we'll run this driver. All right. Right. Booting up. Let's go. So we've got to, as I say, the first thing we need to do is put it into test signing mode on 24H2 because it does not allow unsigned drivers, which if you strip it down, it will be. So look, now you can see bottom right, test mode. So let me go over that again. Look, terminal admin, and then you need to run this command to get it into test mode. You need to run that. Yeah. Yeah, I probably will be full. So you need to run that, reboot. So that'll put it into test mode. Yeah. And when you want to go back to the original one, you just change this to no. Okay. So we're gonna run it. We'll run it in this test signing mode, test mode. Then we'll install the stripped down driver, and then we'll run it again with no, reboot, and then everything will just work. Yeah, no, there is a big jump, Bliss, and people are reporting that they're getting big black screens with this driver. So lots of people are asking me whether it's good or not, so I need to test it. And it's a big jump. We've gone from 551 to 556 or something. No, I shall show. This is obviously a whole new code tree in order for it to go from 551 all the way to 565. That's a big jump between there and there. So whatever they've done, it's significant. Right, so we're going to find out. So now we can build this package. Top 3 I use. If you need any others, use those. I don't. Rapper told me that he ran a Windows update today and it auto-updated the Nvidia driver for it, which is annoying. So I'm going to have to update this driver again this evening. So previous settings. So we got yep. Select processor number 4, please. Yep. Okay, next. No, you need to reboot for that test mode to kick in. You have to reboot for this to kick in. I'm going to build the package so I can easily jump around with. This is only for 24H2. For 23H2, you don't need to do this, the test mode. It's only to get around the restrictions because of 24H2. And in fact, the final version of 24H2 might not even have this restriction on it. So might not be a problem. And even if it is a problem, I think NV Cleanstall have said, look, we'll deal with it once it's officially released. So that they'll probably release a new NV Cleanstall to deal with it. So, but for now, this is the way you get around it. All right, so it's created that. So we can jump between them each time. So I could either run that file. What about Windows 10? I don't know about Windows 10 Bliss. I don't recommend it these days, and I don't use it these days. The only reason you need this test mode is for 24H2. I hate the way it does this. It's basically stripped out the driver right now, and it reboots and it tries to continue the installer when it gets back, and it never works. So you have to just run it again. One of the reasons why I make a package file. No, you don't need to do it for Windows 10. Ooh, pretty. All right, there's that. Was it doing it? I'll be doing it. I know you can't see anything at the moment, but I can. As soon as it's installed the driver, you'll be able to see something. Right, so is it continued or is it not? It's not been able to continue. So now I need to rerun it again, which is why it's useful having a package that I've just created, because I can just double click it as opposed to going through all those NV Cleanstall steps again. Much easier. Yes, I do want to create. I'll install that, please. Right, preparing for install. Should be back for you guys in a sec. Installing graphics driver. There we go. It always messes up fan control. I think because fan control's looking at, yeah, it's always doing that. It's fine. I can just close that. Installing graphics driver. Install this driver anyway. Yeah. Should be back for you in a couple of seconds. Says installing graphics driver 25%, 30%. Just gone black screen for me. And we're back. All right. I don't know why it does that sometimes. Right, should have finished. So let's now quickly optimize it. So let's just double check we are running the correct one. There we go, 565.90. That's sorted. So the next time we go into test mode, let's actually put this back. So next time we reboot, it automatically does it. So we go no. Right, so that won't kick in now until I reboot. But we've got the driver installed, so it doesn't matter anymore. We're back to default once we reboot. Right, so let's go through all the optimization steps super quick. All right, manage 3D setting, performance, apply. Do you think one should upgrade network card or stay with the built-in motherboard one? It depends which one you've got, to be honest. I do. All of my inbuilt network cards in the motherboards, none of them support RSS queues, where it can basically share the load across multiple CPUs for interrupts for the network. Yeah, none of the ones I've got built into my motherboards allow me to do that. So I bought a separate network card for my one. Right, okay, so back to this. Gives me a lot more options. I definitely think it helped my hit rate as well, having the updated 10 gigabit a second card put in. Definitely think that helped. Okay, so what else we got? G-Sync off, please. Performance, highest available. Oh, it's performance. Off the resync. That's it. I've given up messing around with shader cache size. Don't think it makes any difference if you put unlimited 10 gigs or whatever. I just don't think it makes any difference. Just leave it. They're not very big shader cache size anyway, so not too big. Right, we've got anything there. That all looks good. Apply all that. Next. Apply. Hey, Craig. How's it going? Hey, Mike. How are you getting on with Dylan? Have you been running some rank today with him? He said it was his mission yesterday to me that he wanted to get you to Unreal as well. Okay, that's all fine. Override reference mode on. No scaling override, no scaling override, that's fine. Oh, I do need to check that though before I do anything else. Make sure my second, oh, hello. Make sure my second monitor is running 60, yeah. So make sure your second monitor is only running 60 Hertz, please, people. You don't need it to be running any more than that, and all you're doing is basically putting more load on your GPU that you just don't need to. Right, that's off, that's fine, that's fine, and that's fine. All right, next, where's my pack? GPU, let's do the Nvidia profile inspector stuff quickly. Turn on resizable bar, let's put Fortnite in here. Because although your system might support resizable bar, your game might not actually have it switched on. Look, like Fortnite doesn't actually have it switched on. Oh, switch it on. What's the other one I normally change? On the bottom here somewhere. No, not in that section. Is it in the older section? Here it is. Allocation memory policy. Aggressive is what we want. Apply all that. Close that. Done. Right. Let's double check nothing's happened in here. Ooh, what's that? Why are they not sticked? Even it's because I ran the MSI thingy that updated the drivers the other day, didn't it? That will be why. I should check that. Let me quickly run this. I ran the MSI center the other day, didn't I? And I updated the chipset drivers, but I'm wondering, sometimes Driver Booster has a more version. No, it's fine. 60 Hz what? Second monitors. Any second monitors that you have, second or third monitors, should all be running 60 Hertz. They should not be running high Hertz on second monitors. That includes capture cards, because the capture cards you're going to be using it to stream to, and you're only going to be sending 60 FPS anyway, so you don't need more than 60 Hertz. So anything more than 60 Hertz on a second monitor, display settings, go down to advanced display, change it to your second monitor. You should never be running more than 60 Hertz on here. It's just, you're just wasting, you're basically creating FPS and information that you just don't need. You're just going to end up throwing away. So it's just adding work to the system unnecessarily. Okay, that's that. Let's double check that the Nvidia stuff got allocated to the right mask. So 4, that's cool. What's the other one I normally set? That one. That's fine. Okay, that's all done. That's fine. F1. That shouldn't have changed location, so I can just double click that without looking at it. We'll check. We'll double check after a reboot whether the physical IRQ's changed, because then we'll have to change that if we need to. At the moment, yeah. So it hasn't kicked in yet. So I haven't. Core 4 hasn't kicked in for this one yet. We'll do after reboot. All right. Anything else? I don't think so. So let's restart. Yeah. Mike said we had some Duro games on US servers. I was like on 125 ping, so it wasn't much help. Oh, okay. I know Paul's itching to get some more games in tonight for ranked. So we can run some more then. Where's this? Where's my table offset with that table? I banged it. Right, so apparently when you Alt-Tab now, you get really big black screens, but we'll find out shortly. Right, so look, you can see test mode's gone now from this corner. It's no longer test mode. Check. We should be running the strip down driver, no problem. And we've configured everything. So let's just double check that it's on the right core, and let's double check that the MS info hasn't changed. So there's MS info, IRQs, scroll down until we find our GPU. So 272. Um, 272, 273, perfect. Priority 1, priority 2. Sweet. Wait, is that reset? Shouldn't that be 41? Shouldn't that be 41? I'm sure I had this on 41. Am I going crazy? Before I do that. 41's the best one, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. So GPU is on 4. The audio, which is actually through the GPU as well, is on 4 as well. I've started doing that recently. Seems to be helping me. That's all fine. That's all fine. Where's the... Yeah, why is that? It's normally 41, I normally set it to. So how did it get to 40? How on earth did that get to 40? Well, I don't know how that got to 40. That's weird. Anyway, that's an Intel ideal option for Fortnite. That value. Giving away free information. What's your controller right next to your GPU in the IRQs? Mine isn't. Why is your GPU right next to your... I don't know. Depends what else you've got installed, digitized. Yeah, so it depends what else you've got installed. What physically is in your computer. I mean, it might be next to it, might not be next to it. As I say, if you do MS Info 64, hardware, IRQs, I know you can't see that. Let me move this across a bit like that. So hardware, IRQs, you scroll down. Lots of people I know have so many controllers here, loads and loads, that they can't tell which one's which. And I don't think there is a way of telling which one's which, because the IRQs that are listed in Device Manager are logical ones, and the IRQs that are listed in MS System Information, MS Info, are physical IRQs. So these are physical IRQ numbers, and these are logical IRQ numbers. So they don't really match up. So normally, if you want to know where your input devices are, you kind of select something in the first, select your input device, one of your input devices, like a mouse or something. If I go for a mouse, it just makes it easier, isn't it? A mice. There we go. So to select one of those, and then you change the view to connection, and then you basically look up until you get to the first controller. So my mouse is under this controller, and then if you right click, properties it should tell you where the PCI bus 020 is, but the IRQs Uh, where's the ice? Oh, it'll be on resources. Doofus. So yeah, so that's different. There's no way of telling them which one that is for that one. There's no way of telling. So if you've got lots with exactly the same name, then it's almost, I think it is pretty much impossible to know which one you should allocate to its own CPU. So all we're doing here is I'm allocating the GPU to 4 and my input devices, which is why this ISR count goes up when I move my mouse, to 5. Moving all that work away from a bottlenecked CPU 0. Moving all the work that would have normally been on CPU 0 and bottlenecking over to 4 and 5, in my case. Yeah, if you've got a whole list of controllers, I mean, you could in theory allocate all of them to another one, but I don't know whether that would be a bad idea or not, because depending on how many controllers you've got, I mean, if you have a look in Device Manager again, you might have a lot of USB controllers. I mean, I've got all them. If they were all called the same name for me from here to here, and I allocated all of them to the same CPU, I think that may be worse performance than doing none at all. I don't know, maybe. It's up to you. I mean, if you want to allocate, if you've got all of them that's called exactly the same name and you can't work out which one's running your keyboard, mouse, gamepad, then in theory you could allocate them all and go through the interrupt policy configurator with everything, for every single one in here that had the same name, but you get the one that you want, but you get a lot that you wouldn't want. Make sense? Red point, hello. 23/5.0000. I really admire your work. What? What's 23/5.0? I would like to consider playing and optimizing Call of Duty. Well, my core optimization guide will work for any game at all. And then I've split off a separate guide for Fortnite. So my main guide is basically any gaming PC. That'll work for anything. Is there a way to try one at a time and tell the difference? Well, I suppose you could. I mean, in theory, you could run latency mon, and you could look at the one that you've allocated it to, allocate one of them, and then move your mouse round and round. And if this number goes up and down, then you got the right one. That's quite a lot of trial and error, but in theory, that's the way you could do it. The reason it's going up without me touching it right now is because my controller's plugged in and it's sending requests constantly. If I unplugged my gamepad, then that number wouldn't go up unless I move my mouse around. See, digitized. I did my guide for Battlefield 2024. Man, what a difference. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. If you start spreading out the load, lowering the latency, it makes a massive difference. It makes the game much more responsive and smoother. There are better interrupt tool. What's the better interrupt tool, Abu? The controller for the GPU. I mean, the control. Do you do the controller for the GPU? I don't really bother these days, to be honest. I don't usually bother for the controller for the GPU. Have I even bothered in this one? Because it doesn't make much difference from my experience doing the GPU and the controller for it. Makes a big difference doing the GPU, but not so much the controller. So to find out what the controller is for the GPU, you find your GPU here, and then once you've selected it, you can then view by connections, and then you go up, and that's my controller for it. So it's just above it. So it's the A70D. Have I allocated that? I don't think I've bothered allocating that. This one, look, I've got it running on all of them at the moment. But to be honest, I don't think it even works when you allocate your controller for the GPU. So I've allocated this and I've allocated this manually. Look at the level they are both at. And those work. Look, it's gone to 4, it's gone to 4. So I've done those two. Sorry, you can't see. So these two here are basically these two here. Yeah, so I've put them both on the same one. So in theory, you should do the controller as well, but I found setting the controller, that one there, it still says core 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, even if you allocate it to 4. If you're talking about the controller for your input devices, then yeah, that's the thing. You honestly, I don't think you need to do the controller for the GPU. I don't think you need to do it. I think you just need to do the GPU, and you need to do your input devices controller. They're the two important ones. That one and that one. They are the two important ones. And that's for my input devices. That's for my keyboard, mouse, and gamepad. Make sense? Right, I need to test this driver. Now we've got it installed. Actually need to test it, see what it's like. Make sure your shader cache is cleaned out as well. That's always worth doing after doing a new driver install. Local app, data % either side. Go up one level. Local low, Nvidia per driver, DX cache. Select all, delete. Skip any that are locked. So obviously something's using these actively at the moment, so you can skip those. As long as you've got your game closed when you do this, you'll be able to clean out the game one. So that's all my shader cache cleaned out. I might reset the Fortnite game folder as well. Local app data % again. I might do this. Just to rule out, to start from a blank slate, rule out everything that potentially could be an issue. So let's, no, we don't need that. Do we need that? No, we don't need that. Not at the moment. Right, start Fortnite up. As we've just cleaned out the local app data Fortnite game folder, it will have reset all the display settings. So I'm going to have to go into the game and redo just the display tab. All the other settings still there, just the display tab. Yeah, but they should. Microsoft yesterday, or the day before yesterday, announced that they're now rolling out Windows 11 24H2 to everybody. They're starting with pre-built systems. So say you've got a laptop from Dell or something. They're starting with those, but they'll slowly get to everyone. 24H2 has, for me, about 6% better FPS. The latency has been a little bit worse than in the beta versions that I've been running. But you can get around some of that latency by setting disable idle in your power plan. You'll also need to debloat it as well if you upgrade to 24H2 and run my pack stuff again. Come on, I don't want a video, thank you. Yeah. Right, right, so we've got to reset this up. So full screen, native resolution, off. We're using RTSS to cap frame rate limit. I'll change this at the end, not now, because this gives me more options doing it here. Skip that section. Right, this is the important one, quality presets. Make sure that's low. Presets are very important because control two hidden values that you cannot get to from these menus. So start with the preset low. Turn that off. 100% on 3D resolution. Have everything else on low. Show FPS I don't need because I've got this young man up the top. Latency markers I don't need because I'm not testing latency on this environment. I do that on my other environments. On plus boost for reflex, incredibly important for latency. That makes a huge difference. On, you are not getting better latency in Fortnite. You're not. On plus boost, you are. You will lose a little bit of FPS doing that, but you are getting much lower latency. And then apply all that lot. New modem just came in the mail. Yay! Right. What's the other thing? This typically resets, not in audio, it typically resets those energy saving things, doesn't it? Off, off, never. Yeah, I think that's it. Right, back. Now we can change to performance mode right at the end. And then it will ask me to restart, and away we go. Woohoo! So people have been saying alt tabbing is giving massive amounts of like 3 to 5 seconds black screens with this driver and 24H2. So we'll see in a minute. Maybe it's just messing with full screen exclusive mode if they're running that. I don't run full screen exclusive mode anymore because the default full screen optimization mode, FSO, is just as good. Slightly better FPS with FPO. Am I saying that right? Full screen optimizations. And about the same latency now as FSE. So there's no point in using FSE anymore, full screen exclusive mode. There's no point. You got a liquid cooled GPU? No, I do not. Fortnite is a CPU bound game. Okay, that's not really 100%, but you get my point. And the GPU basically never gets beyond about 20%. So my GPU, 30 degrees. To be honest, most GPUs cooling these days with the fans is plenty. It's the CPU that you need the extra cooling for. So I've got a custom loop. I've got a custom loop just for the CPU. All of that, 2 radiators, one at the top, one straight down the side on the right. 2 360mm radiators, so 11 case fans. All of that is pretty much just for the CPU. So yeah, my CPU is normally about 30 degrees centigrade, or 4080. That's fine. So I've got lots and lots of cooling for just case fans, for air fans. You really don't need to cool your GPU unless you're running a really heavy GPU bound game, and for that you're probably going to be running 4K 120 FPS on yeah. So no, I don't do that. Right, let me stop that loop. Right, anyway, what we doing? I'm working in that. Wow, it's an eye opener. What? Yeah, if you do exclamation mark PC, that's my PC. That's my new one. That's the one in the picture. So I've got, yeah, it's only water cooled for the CPU. So I've got an EK cooling block on top of the CPU. But I mean that's quite hot, to be honest, right now, because I'm running disable idled. It would be 15 degrees lower if I wasn't running disable idled. It'd be even lower if I'm on just desktop. It would probably be under about 30, because that'll be the other one. Right, so we've done all these optimizations. So let's go and grab a replay now and to see what the performance is like. Because we cleaned out the local updated Fortnite game, we haven't got one in here now anymore. But if we go to here, is it 2 or is it 1? A Fortnite game. What's it? Old 2 or something? There we go. I've got a replay I can use. What's the biggest replay? Zeppo was asking for this. Let's call it something like bench. Where are we going to take it from? These are Unreal Lobby reload matches, so probably not far in. Maybe 10 minutes in. That's probably too much, isn't it? What do we think? We want endgame, but we don't want... Well, let's go 10 minutes in. Let's go 10 minutes in. Right, copy that, go back to the directory we just had, paste it in there, and we can close this and refresh Fortnite, and it should be in there. Fresh, yay. All right. So that was the biggest replay we had. 8 hiding in trees. All right, so where are we going? What did we say we're going to? 600. Yeah, that should be all right. We're all hiding in a bush. All right, so we'll run this through twice. First for the shader cache creation. Why is that doing that? And then once for the... actually, that should be enough. Once for the shader cache creation, and then once for actually capturing it. But I need to turn off that overlay in the top right. And that one off. And then I need to put CapFrame X on. Turn off that overlay. You don't want too many things, too many monitoring things running at the same time. Now we can start CapFrame X. I might stick it bottom left. All fine. Yeah, that's down in the bottom corner. Right, why have I got scanline sync on? That's annoying. How long have I been running scanline sync? Did I must have put this on the other day and I even noticed I put it on. I shouldn't really change syncs while the game's running. Shouldn't have really done that. It can mess up latency. There's a special trick you can do to basically get rid of any kind of micro changes in. I mean, I suppose I can run kind of those things. I'll show you. I'll show you what it looks like. But it basically makes the game really, really smooth doing this, like crazy smooth. But you lose about 2 milliseconds, 1 to 2 milliseconds of latency, input lag. But it makes the game insanely smooth. All right. Let's run it through this. As long as we're comparing like for like, I don't really care. So let's run this for 3 minutes.
Capture started.
So that will capture for 3 minutes, and then we can run it again after the shader cache is all filled in, and make sure it all looks okay. Again, that's in my Fortnite guide, that one, the scanline sync trick. There's a whole section on whether you want to use async or scanline sync. It's a whole section in the Fortnite guide. Yeah, it shows different benchmarks. Mr. Real. Are you sure? this was an Unreal match last night in ranked. Pretty sure we won this. Oh, this is one we lost. Pretty sure we won. You lost this one, yeah. It was the one where the guy was literally next to us trying to res me. I think everyone was panicking a bit there. Interesting. Interesting. Why are you sending me nerd pictures? Oh, we got that. 37 seconds. We rewind, run it properly. Yeah, the motion clarity is a lot better with the scanline sync thing. You have to run it with the front edge sync in order for it to work. But yeah, in terms of motion clarity, it's crazy good. Maybe that's why I was missing some sniping shots. And 2 milliseconds of latency, where they had time to duck. If for some reason random wireless keyboard runs smoother than the Apex Pro PKL mini delay wise, any reason why you think? Random wireless keyboard. Probably overclocked your Apex Pro too high, and it's making your CPU get to 100% one of the cores, and it's making delay that way. Right, so done. Let's go back to that. Right, ready. Now, this is the real one we're capturing. Wait, why is it saying 265 FPS, right? What is that about? Now it's
Capture
gone up to
started.
260. Weird. This is zero mode. I usually, yeah, this is zero builds. I'm not very good at building, so I do zero builds. What are we doing here? Hey, Fanta, how you doing? We are testing the brand new, out yesterday or the day before yesterday, Nvidia GPU driver to see if it's got any problems. I'm running it on Windows 11 24H2, which has only just been released to the public like yesterday as well, but only not to everyone, only to certain hardware. But I've been running 24H2 for a while now in the beta, in the developers channel, to test it and optimize it and make sure we're ready to go once everybody upgrades to it. So yeah, we're combining the two at the moment. We're running 24H2 Windows 11 and we're running the very latest Nvidia driver, and we're testing to see whether there are any issues. That's what we're doing. How do you overclock your keyboard if you know? Often you have software that goes with your keyboard, like Razer Synapse or something, that you can change the polling rate. Or if you don't have software that can do that, you can use a tool called a HID USBF, which you can change the polling rate on that as well. I've been looking into 25 is worth downloading. Yes, it is worth downloading once you get it. Definitely didn't know there was a new driver. How's things looking? So we'll find out in 72 seconds. Because I'm running a test right now on it. It's 65 seconds. Yeah, so 24H2 has about 6% better FPS than 23H2 did. And I'm running dual boot, so I can compare like for like on the same computer. So I can either boot into a 23H2 environment or a 24H2 environment, both with the same configuration, and I can test them back to back. And the 24H2 has about 6% better FPS. 27 seconds. Yeah, so I would never recommend going higher than 1,000 polling rate for anything, unless you've got a supercomputer. Because if any of your CPU cores goes to 100% because of all those extra interrupts, then you're going to get game stuttering and you're going to get more input lag. So unless you've got a lot of CPU headroom, don't go higher than 1,000 polling rate. Right, let's have a look. Have a look at the results. See what this looks like. So, what driver is this? Did I say it was? What's the name of my thing? So this is 24H2. Well, let's just do the name of the driver first. 565.90. On 24H2. See what it looks like. So that first one we ran is just creating shader cache, so we can delete that. Right, so look. So this is what a graph looks like, right? When you're running that scan line setting, you can see there's no little micro stuttering anywhere. It's like it completely gets rid of them. So this is what it looks like on normal async. So you got a little bit of stuttering like this, but if you do that scan line sync, it gets rid of it all. It gets completely. The averages is pretty much almost like goes straight down. So that's what that is. But as I say, you will lose 1 to 2 milliseconds input lag from doing that scan line sync. So it depends on you. Depends what if you're doing comp. If you're doing comp, I would not recommend running the scan line sync front edge sync combo. If you're playing casually, then I would recommend it because it makes the game crazy smooth and the motion clarity is a lot better when you're kind of looking around. It's a lot clearer as you're doing it because you're getting rid of all this like jitter. Yeah. But as I say, you get all that jitter with just normal async. But in terms of how this driver is, look, there's no big latency spikes. If there were horrible latency spikes, it would be like 100, 200 big spikes for the frame times. We've got none of that. Everything's like under 20. That's good. We've only got 0.1% stuttering. That's excellent. If we switch to FPS, you can see it does go up and down a little bit on my system, but it's mostly at the baseline. But remember, this is Unreal endgame we're talking about here, so it's a high packed endgame, so that's not too bad. I'm only dipping around 300. I'm not that bothered. That's fine. If it was dipping down to like 60 ever or under 100, then I'd be upset. But it's staying pretty close to 360, so that's fine. Yeah, it looks good, to be honest. I don't see any issues with this. GPU clock staying at 3000. Temperatures did get up to 71, but they're averaging at 60 for the CPU. That's really good. GPU temps, look, averaging 31, getting up to a peak of 33. Fortnite is not a GPU bound game because I'm running such high FPS. It puts all the bottleneck on the CPU. If I was running lower FPS with higher graphics, then I'd be GPU bound. But because the CPU feeds the GPU information and says, right, you need to prepare this frame with this information, the GPU is pretty dumb. It just goes, all right then, all right then, all right then. Whereas if you're doing 360 frames a second, then that CPU has a lot of frames to put together to then give to the GPU. Yeah, HID USBF. Bear in mind, if you're going to run HID USBF, you have to turn off secure boot in your BIOS. Do you now? You might not do. You might not do. Now it's signed by Battle Beaver. You might not actually not do. I haven't used HID USBF for a while since it's been taken over by Battle Beaver. So you might not need to turn secure boot off anymore. But that looks fine to me. That looks fine to me. I mean, if I look at other benchmarks I've done, okay, that's a much easier benchmark. Plus, I'm running. only goes down to 340 there, so that only goes down to 340, 300. Yeah, it's still a bit of a drop, isn't it? It might just be the replay I'm running. If I run an easier replay, it might be alright. I mean, I can show you the difference running async. We can run one on async. HID USBF. Need to Google it. If you want instructions on how to do it, you need to buy my guide. Yeah, so I was going to change this to take off front edge sync, change that to async, which is the default, turn off scanline sync. Okay, well, let's compare that. As I say, you shouldn't really switch syncs while you're running the game because it can add a load of latency, but I'm not sure it'll make the FPS worse, so it might be alright. So let's run this again with async. Same replay slices.
Capture started.
Time is up. GG teams. Yeah, you have the guide. Should be a section in overclocking in there, I think. Controllers. Might be in the Fortnite guide. One thing. Is it the Fortnite guide? Not sure which one it's in. I'm sure there's a section on HID USBF. I chucked a full box in there with a bunker. Didn't quite work. You face through the back wall. Bloating Discord. See, I don't have that issue because I don't run Discord on my gaming PC. I run it on my streaming PC. So I do debloat Discord a little bit, but just yeah, setting a few options in there. But it's not as important for me. Oh, I'm glad we didn't go over there. Look at all those rats. We are surrounded. Hiding down there. 2 teams there. Yeah, in 2 PCs. Even when I didn't have 2 PCs, I used a laptop with no GPU in it to stream and do this. Just a really old, crappy, £300 laptop. Alright, 20 seconds. Uh, 600, so 10 minutes in. Yeah, you have to replay it. It'll be different to mine though, because we'll have different perspectives. Well, I suppose unless you go to me, but it might be slightly different. Okay. Plus, depends when I load it in, so the time slices will be slightly different. If I load it in a little later than you did or before. See what I'm saying? I'll put it on the Discord in a minute, because Zeppo's been asking. So I'll put it on the Discord in a minute, so wait 5 minutes and it'll be there. Right, so this is... This is scanline plus front edge. And this is async. Right, so we can have a look at this. Well, that's going down a bit lower, isn't it? That's interesting. As I say, that's where you should restart. Yeah, much better FPS, much smoother on scanline sync. But yeah, you lose 1 or 2 milliseconds input lag. That's the downside of it. It's better, but you lose milliseconds. Frame times, even the frame times are consistently lower. Yeah, so you can see the difference. You lose all this jitter with the scanline sync. It isn't as smooth. Just isn't as smooth. I'm surprised that the async average FPS isn't higher. But as I say, it could be because we didn't restart Fortnite in between. All right, let me put this replay on the server so that others can use it. Push on my screen. Yeah, so I don't know what I want to run. I'm sure this is better. Hit reg. Do I want to run it? Yeah. 2 seconds. Mr. Biscuit, hello. Do I want to lose 2 milliseconds? Do I want to go from 6.3 millisecond response times from clicking a mouse to seeing it on the screen to 8.3? Do I want to lose those 2 milliseconds for that extra smoothness? I don't know. I don't know. Right, let me put that replay on. Local app data. Follow game, save demos, bench. Right, just for. Oh, it's an update. Who's that? You got to be careful with this as well. Whenever Discord updates, it typically leaves behind stuck processes that can make your CPU go to 100%. And then if you start gaming on top of that, you'll get a load of FPS drops. So compare your benchmark. Apply. There we go. So it's on there. Yeah, so you got to be really careful when you're doing this. We're really, really careful that you don't have those additional things. So what do I run? I don't know what to run. I don't know whether to run async or whether to run scanline sync. It's all going to be irrelevant when we get when I get my new monitor, when it's out, the Pulsar, G-Sync Pulsar, then that will completely blow these out of the water. I mean, it'll be insanely smooth. I mean, I'm expecting, yeah, it'll just be insanely smooth. Can't wait for that. But it's not. I keep looking every day. It's Q4 coming out, that new monitor. So that's anywhere from the 1st of October to the 31st of December. Gotta wait for it then. But that'll be crazy good. Yeah, it definitely was worse FPS drops, wasn't it? On the well, no, it wasn't worse there saying that, but it was worse here, whatever that was. But it could have been because I changed mode in the middle of thing. Shall I restart quickly? Now we're back to async. Yeah, now we're back onto async. Shall I run another test to rule that issue out with RTSS when you switch syncs? Just want to make sure it's not that. But otherwise, this driver looks all right. I haven't noticed any alt tab issues when I was alt tabbing over to CapFrame X there. Did you notice any black screen, long black screens? I didn't. Short black screens, yes. So delete Discord and no. So when Discord does an update, after it's finished doing the update, close it, go in Task Manager, look for any processes that still say Discord, and right click and end them, right? After it's done its update, then reopen Discord. That way you won't get the 100%. Yeah, I haven't seen any alt tab issues at all with this. So unsure what they're talking about, frankly. All right, let's rerun that async again. We won't have to do 2 lots of shader cache because we've already got the shader cache now, so we only have to run it once. Yeah, it'll be one kid with a custom OS that has issues. Yeah, always is. My other tweaks that I got from this dodgy person that said it was good. You can use front edge sync without scanlight. Yeah, but I don't think the whole point is you hide the FPS. You have a bit of the scanline buffer of the page where you hide all the rubbish in the kind of the jitter that you then don't see. It's kind of off the page, off the screen. That's the whole point of it. So by doing the minus number, that's the bit that hides all the jitter. So having front edge sync without it, I don't know why you do that. Really? It shouldn't do. That's weird if it does. Okay, replays. Honestly, I've tested these for all latency and FPS compared to everything. Went from 16 to 2. Keep time. Ready, steady.
Capture started.
You were capping at 240 though. I mean, on your CPU, 240 is ridiculously low. Oh, I'm doing this wrong. Look, I'm not doing it in gameplay mode. Keep the time. Back to that.
Capture finished.
Alright, go again.
Capture started.
Your CPU is still the best gaming CPU on the market. So, running it at 240 FPS is child's play for it. Because all that L3 cache. Yeah, you need to get yourself a better monitor. Donate. You mean exclamation mark tip? There we go, that's one. Mm-hmm. 106 seconds to go. You get the new monitor for Christmas. Cool. Are you gonna get the one we're getting? Me and Chip and Rapper and Cleveland. All the people I know that are getting it at the moment. I think once we get it, word is quickly going to spread that it's the next thing in gaming. If you're an esports pro, you will need this new monitor that's about to come out. It will cost about £1,000. I'm getting it the second it comes out. Oh, batch! Nice, man. Right. Mr. Batch. Coming in with the gift kit. Buying the latest packs. Right, let me sort you out, Batch. Actually, let's do from here, come on. There we go.
Capture finished.
Hey. Done on that. I'll change input devices until that's done. Thanks, Patch! Then I'm not getting £1,000 monitor. Okay. Alright, pause this and let's have a look at the replay. See if it's a bit better than now we've restarted async. That was wrong, wasn't it? That was the first run. Do that. Second run. Yep. Any better? Yeah, the second one's better. Well, way better. How that compares to Scanline stinks still. So yeah, that's what I thought. It should be slightly better average. But yeah, if you switch syncs whilst your game is playing in RTSS, it messes it up. If I measure the latency afterwards, it's going to be an extra 3-4 milliseconds of latency if I don't restart Fortnite after changing the syncs. Something messes up in RTSS when you change syncs without restarting the game. I normally just restart the computer. Do I recommend installing? Yeah, if you can get your hands on it, 24H2, I do recommend it. It should be fine for everyone now, really. But as I say, if you want to install a stripped down driver, you have to go through the steps that I did earlier, where you have to put it into kind of test mode, reboot, install the stripped down driver, and then take it out of test mode, and then do that. So it's a bit of a faff at the moment. But that's pretty much the only downside, other than, oh yeah, and you also have to put your power plan into disable idle. Again, how to do that's in the guide. So, yeah. So what should I run here? I mean, much smoother. There's a bit more FPS and lower latency. I don't know. I typically always err on the side of latency, don't I? I mean, look at that FPS and tiles. Orange one. It's over there on the tiles. Interesting. But it is way smoother. If you look at, there's just no judder at all there. Look, no jitter whatsoever. And then you look at the async one, it's just all jitter. But it's still very low frame times. 15 versus, got a little peak there. That says there's even less stuttering on async. Like 0.012 versus 0.019. Sensor data wise, CPU temp got up to 71, 1671, 59 and 68. CPU temps, that's actually not working quite so hard, the CPU, for async. But no. So the new driver doesn't seem to have any issues. If it had any issues, you'd be seeing big 200 millisecond frame time spikes. None of that. Front edge sprint for that replay is 5 more smoothness and better average delay. Yes, but do I want to give up 2 milliseconds of input lag? Do I want to give up 2 milliseconds of input lag for that extra smoothness? I don't know. Oh, that's really good digitized. Yeah, your networks, it does help with the network as well. It makes your hit reg really good, really responsive. You definitely enjoy it for a while. Do that. Well, you say that, but I don't know. It's like having an Xbox controller versus a PlayStation overclocked controller difference. A little bit more. I don't know. As I say, it'll all be irrelevant once the new monitor comes out. This thing. G-Sync Pulsar. Soon as this thing comes out, it's going to be mental. Where is it? This. Soon as this thing comes out in the next couple of weeks. So this is the difference between having the pulsar on and the pulsar off. Top one is with it off, and then look, you can see the clarity difference with the pulsar on. It's effectively ×4 more better motion clarity with the same FPS. So it's going to be mentally good. Way better than anything you can tune on your PC. You're going to need this monitor if you're an eSport pro, basically. But it's not out yet. I'm waiting. This thing. I've got like Google notifications daily for if this thing comes out. It'll be about £1,000 because the current one it's replacing is about £1,000. But it's 27-inch, 360 hertz. It's 1440p. It'll look amazing. Honestly, it'll look just crazy. So I'm waiting for it. Ship's waiting for it. Rapper's waiting for it. I get like weekly things from Ship saying, "Is it out yet? Is it out yet? I need that new monitor. Is it out yet?" No, it won't be better, Elliot. This thing is ×4 motion clarity. So if you're running at 360 FPS, that's like 1200 FPS clarity. It's over 1000 FPS. It'll look like you're running 1000 FPS, even though you're only running 240. It'll look like it's 1000. This is going to be game changing, this thing. Can't wait for this monitor. My main concern is, well, I've got two concerns. One, what is the cost of latency in this? I know for a fact G-Sync on its own doesn't add latency. I've measured it and it's actually lower latency than Fix Refresh right now. So whatever they've done recently, it's really low. So need to double, when I get the monitor, the first thing I'm going to be doing is plugging it into it does come with latency analyzer built in, so I'm going to be doing that. So I'm going to check the latency. If it's too much higher than the 6.3 milliseconds I've got right now, then I'm probably going to send it back. The other issue I've got is when you run two monitors, if you run G-Sync on two monitors, you need to keep the frequencies very close together for you not to get like weird lines and screen tearing on your primary monitor. So I can get away with running 360 on the primary and 240 on my capture card. Just looks okay, and you don't get the weird latency spikes. But if I change that second monitor to 60 hertz, you start getting every 10 seconds you get a massive latency spike when you run G-Sync, which is why I don't recommend G-Sync for for multi-monitor setups at the moment. So that's my main concern with this new one. See what it's like. And the other thing is backstrobe technology does add a load of ULMB. When I've measured that, it's got like 5 times worse latency. So this is a combination of G-Sync and backstrobing that helps with the clarity. So yeah, I'll be very interested to see what the latency, end-to-end latency is going to be. What game ever runs 500 FPS? Well, Mr. Savage is running 500 FPS on his 500 Hz monitor. But if you watch his FPS, it goes down to 200 all the time. So it's not very stable 500 FPS. Should I mean, you can try it, but massive latency. And it's also capped at 240 as well on my monitor when I tried it, ULMB. You have to enable it on the monitor first, then it detects it in the Nvidia control panel, then you can run it. So this is going to be the big thing of the year. This is going to be bigger than any tweaker's tweak that you can get. This is going to be game changing, this thing. But it's meant to be introduced to lots of new monitors, so hopefully it will come through, because it's a whole new tech. I mean, you think about how many monitors right now have G-Sync in them. This Pulsar G-Sync is a whole new tech that they've got a new manufacturer to create a new chip for. Apparently they've found a way of making it a lot cheaper. Oh yeah, done. Have you tested it? Yeah, I've just tested it. That. So it looks fine. It looks fine. There's no big latency spikes. It looks nice and smooth. It looks fine. So yeah, new driver's fine. Upgrade away. We found no issues with it so far. Looks fine. Just depends whether or not I go with scanline sync or not. I don't know. I can't remember when I did this with. Let's go to my benchmarks. Not my benchmark. So async's at the top there. There's the reflex one. So that's FPS. And then if you do, I did latency. Where have I done latency? Ah, here we go. There's me testing different scanline syncs. Or is it? Where's the one I do with different scanline sync? That one. You can see that the yeah, that 8.2 milliseconds compared to like 6.3 I normally have about here whenever I do this. So it's adding 2 milliseconds, which doesn't sound a lot percent-wise. Percent-wise, it's a lot higher. Anyway. You ever measure GPU busy deviation? My GPU is never busy. My GPU in Fortnite never gets to more than about, let's just say, how much that you can show additional graphs, GPU load and GPU busy times. Oh look, 0. Look, there's the GPU load, the green line. It's barely getting to 20. I don't think it ever hits 30%. So no, I don't do that in this. Maybe in different games, yes, I'd look at that more, but not in Fortnite. Purely a CPU bound game, Fortnite. CPU and memory speed. Mr. Burt! How you doing, buddy? How's it going? GPU busy deviation 78%. GPU busy deviation 81%. 81%. All right. I think we've had enough of these shenanigans. I think the new driver's fine. And still on the fence whether to go with async or not, but I do like my lower latency, especially for sniping. So I don't know. I kind of want to keep the lower async one. I know it's not smooth. Let's restart and then we'll run some. Clean everything off. Start from a fresh slate. They say your deviation should be as close to 0 as possible. I don't know. Never even looked at it. My GPU is not the problem. If you look at the stats for how much time at 360 FPS my system is spending doing GPU stuff, it's typically about 0.2 milliseconds. I mean, how much more am I going to tune that? Am I going to go negative time? 0.2 milliseconds for stuff it's doing in GPU at 360. I mean, there's not much I can tune there. 0.2 of a millisecond. The vast majority is the displaying of the monitor, the mouse, and the CPU putting together the frames. That's where the vast majority of the time is. The GPU is so teeny tiny in Fortnite that there's literally no point in trying to optimize it. Yes, I do overclock my GPU a bit, but it's only to get, well, this should say 3000 when you're in game. It's only because I'm OCD and I wanted that 3000 and I wanted that pretty much dead on 1200. 12,000. So I am overclocking a little bit. It's not nowhere near the maximum to my card, but anyway. But okay, so if it's measuring the deviation with your CPU, then bear in mind that this is doing frame pacing. So it's not just as soon as a frame is ready, send it to the GPU. It's not doing that. It's pacing them out so that it's at regular intervals. So it's like dancing to music with a steady beat. Your aim is going to be, your movement to dancing to it's going to be much easier if the beat's the same all the time. This is one of the reasons why I love RTSS so much, because it does frame pacing. And sometimes that means making the frame wait and not giving it, even after it's ready from the CPU, giving it to the GPU. So there's going to be a little bit of a gap. But you get the even frame pacing, which means your aim's better and your game is smoother. More important. Yeah, set my. So I've got fan control on here. I'm not setting the GPU in here. I would do normally if I wasn't overclocking, but as I'm overclocking, I might as well just use the fan curve in here as well. So yeah, 28 degrees on a 4080. Super, nice and cool. Air cooled, no water cooling, air cooled. Yeah, everything's nice and cool. You be cool. What is my temperature at the moment? 67, but that's because it's in performance mode. If I go to balanced, that will turn off the what's it called? Do you recommend the highest frame cap you can hold? Yes, ideally I recommend going whatever your monitor is. And hopefully your computer's powerful enough to maintain that. That's what I'd recommend. But I mean, I've showed you guys the difference between setting your frame cap properly and not setting your frame cap properly, haven't I? Have I got? Or is that in my other one? Is that in my other one? Which one's this in? FPS limiters. Yeah. So if I show you this, look. This is the difference between setting your FPS cap properly and not. So this is me running the same replay 3 times. First time I ran it at 360, then I ran it at 300, then I ran it at 240. This is on my old gaming PC, by the way, not the new one. And as you can see, this part of the replay has a big dip. So by setting it to 240 here, that's completely unaware of that dip, and then you get a nice straight line. So that's the thing that you're aiming to do, ideally. It's to ignore all these big dips above it and setting it correctly. Do you think my computer? No, yours can't, Bliss. All those hacking tools that you've plugged in massively reduce the frame rate. So yeah, getting the right frame cap is important. So for example, I've got an Alienware 360Hz monitor. On my old PC, I used to actually not run at 360Hz, even though I could on the monitor. I used to set it at 240 and then cap at 240. That will give you the smoothest gameplay. Here, I would set it at 360 and cap at 360. Here, I'd set it at 300 and cap at 300. 300 Hertz, 300 FPS cap. Make sense? Make a sense? What were we doing a million years ago? I think we were running, we're going to run some games, aren't we? Yeah, so what's my CPU temps right now? 29. My CPU is running at 29 degrees centigrade on desktop, which is not bad for 14900 KS, I'll tell you that much. And my GPU is running at 28 degrees. 28 degrees for my GPU, 30 degrees for my CPU, 29. That's pretty good, I'm happy with that. Cooling is vastly underrated in gaming. Vastly underrated. The lower the temperatures, the better your FPS will be, the smoother your game will be, the lower the latency will be. Just by lowering your temperatures. Just turn your fans up a bit more and you get free performance. Right. Right, let's go. Let's play some. Yeah, that should be fine digitized then. Should be fine. All right, let's go. Let's go. I'm freezing. Oh, I need to put on my overlay again, don't I? Now we're not testing anymore. I need to put my custom overlay back on again. Thank you. And top left. No. Why is that? On-screen display preview. I've never seen that before. Didn't even know we could do that. You just double click in there, look. Never even seen that before. Didn't even know we could do that. Thank you for your time. Anytime. Anytime. Always happy to help. Right, we got our on-the-screen display. It's running disable idle, which is why it's 100%. Ready to go. Let's press to join Mr. Mike.
Hello,
Nice.
Alex.
Hello, hello, Mr. Bliss.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, mate. My game runs at like 600 to 700. Where should I cap it?
I think you should cap it at wherever your monitor is.
Oh, but that actually makes it. I
Hello?
can feel the latency difference.
Yes, you will. But that's what you should be capping it at because you're bottlenecked on your monitor. Now you'll get better input lag, but it won't make any visual difference. You going higher.
Hello,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
but I mean, when I'm building, I can feel the input delay. So
Yeah, you will. Because if you work out what the frame times are, they're much worse at 144 than compared to 360.
exactly, that's why I'm on 360.
Yeah, about, I don't know.
My game should be finished in a minute.
Yeah, I've got like 10 left.
I got 12 left, but I have 32 kills. So
Nice. Well, I'm going to go to the bathroom then while I'm waiting for you guys. I'll be right back.
How have you been this fine evening, Mike?
Yeah, not bad, mate, not bad. Chilling.
Yeah, it's my first game. Kind of just been doing nothing all day.
Needed you earlier. Fucking me and Dylan were playing ranked duos on US servers. My God, I was on like 130 ping. It was like it wasn't a good experience.
Oh, yeah, but come on, the US people are awful at the game.
Yeah, but I was on like 130 ping because we were on central servers. And it was like I just couldn't do anything. Oh, we got a real player here.
There's literally these are practically teamers. They're just not shooting at each other, and they're both going for me. Don't peek that. You don't need the loot, buddy. Just hit this guy at 140, and he's peeked around the corner to get a ledge gun. Like, you do not need it. The circle is still massive.
That's
So
what
I
she
just have
said.
to get lucky. Okay. I specifically mentioned the circle, mate. Just like the low tape of fade meme, though.
Yeah, if you ever pass in, what do you call it, Cheshire down here, if you ever come down south, I'm selling my monitor. If you want a 240 one.
Yeah. I mean, at 240 would definitely be good, because to be honest, I can see the difference between 144 and 120. Yeah. So obviously, 240, I'm kind of looking for a 360, because I have the best CPU in the world. I should be kind of going for 360.
Yeah. Like in reload, like I was saying in chat, I can keep because I've got G-Sync enabled, so Alex said cap it at 237, and in this it's like rock solid. But you play the main mode, and Christ, it's like dipping into the bloody hundreds.
That must be rough, yeah. In the main mode, I have been looking. I haven't dropped under 360 yet.
I can see difference from 140 to 240. Yeah, you will do in frame time.
I did not.
Anyone watching on YouTube right now? I'm just going to switch to Twitch. So, because I think we've done all the technical testing now, so I'm just going to play Fortnite on Twitch now. So if we want to continue watching, just jump over to the Twitch channel.